everybody here. Another week of Father, Son, and Holy Sport NFL show. What's up, man?
Oh man, good to be up in Ohio. Before I head up to New York City for the weekend,
Woo!
get to watch my boy Sauce Gardner.
Manhattan,
I'll be supporting him from Manhattan, so it'll be a fun
Times Square for
weekend.
team money. You should go for New Year's Eve. You're getting there early.
Here we go. Here we go. Going to be a fun football weekend. We got 3 games on Thursday this week, so that's awesome. It's gonna be a
Yeah,
great Thanksgiving.
yeah. Thanksgiving triple header. We got the Bills and Dallas both favored by 10 points in the first two games. So we got to wait for the nightcap for a close game, at least by the spread, and that's Minnesota versus New England.
Yeah,
What do you think there?
that's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah,
We'll see.
at
Bill
Minnesota.
Belichick does what he does, takes away Justin Jefferson. What can Kirk Cousins do? So we'll see. We'll
Then,
see.
Sunday, 1 o'clock, we got the rematch: the Titans and the Bengals, who met in the playoffs last year. Bengals knocked them out. There's the rematch coming up this Sunday.
And you know where my heart lies here, but I think that's going to be a tough match. These Titans look like a new life since they started. I
Yeah,
think like 0-2,
right.
and Vrabel's just done a great job again. So they're a tough team. It's a tough out.
They both started 0-2. Titans since have went 7-1. Bengals since have went 6-2 after that 0-2 start.
Yeah.
Hey, do us a favor, y'all. Press that like and subscribe, man. We love what you listen to, and you must love what you listen to. Also, because you're listening to us. So, hey, thanks a lot. Let's take you to the NFL rundown. Take you around the league, talk about some stuff that's on everybody's mind. It's Tuesday, man. You got plenty of time here to get yourself ready for the Thursday start of Week 12. Hey, Team Money, let's talk about Dallas with a convincing win over the Vikings at their house. Do we trust the Cowboys now as someone who can seriously reach that Super Bowl?
I'm going to still go with no.
Ah,
This is what these guys do every year. Every year for the past 2+ decades, it's felt like the Cowboys are going to pull you in just when you think this team really has it.
yeah.
And then they're going to
Break your
blow
heart.
it. And they're going to break their heart. They're going to go play the Giants, who no one has faith in, even though they both have the same record. And they're going to lose to the Giants, probably. And that's what they do. Or in the next few weeks, they'll have a chance to maybe
Yeah.
win the division when they play the Eagles or something. And they'll lose. And then they'll get blown off the field. This is what they do. They drag us in. I will never trust the Cowboys. And unless they start making conference finals, I won't trust the Cowboys. I'm not one of those guys that believes in them. Plus, Mike McCarthy, I just think is probably one of, if not the worst coach in the NFL. So I don't think I trust them at all. I think they're a good football team. I still hold them pretty equal water to Minnesota, even though they just dominated them. But I still think of them in the same light.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I mean, this is more about the downfall of the Vikings than it is the domination of Dallas.
Yeah.
I think this game, that's how I would categorize it. But I agree. Consistency, I think, is what they got to focus on. They can't 1 week lose to the Packers and then come back and blow somebody out. They
Yeah.
got to be consistent. What is that? What is the reason for that? Maybe it is the coach. It's either focus or their game planning or their execution of the game plan. Something's not right for them to be that inconsistent.
Yeah, and like I said, it's coaching for sure. I mean, I just think they don't know who they want to be. Dak wants to be Tom Brady. They want to ride Ezekiel Elliott, but Tony Pollard's their best guy. Even though I think their best player last weekend was their kicker. So I mean, I don't trust that.
Har,
Yeah,
man.
he killed it. And then Micah Parsons is phenomenal, but they
Yeah.
don't seem to know how to use him. He's so versatile that they don't just let him rush the passer when that's probably the best thing for him.
You are fired up.
So I don't trust them.
You're
I don't
actually
trust
fired
them
up
to make
today.
good decisions. They still have a tough road ahead with the Giants and the Eagles and some other tough games. They're going to make the playoffs, but I just trust. I think that's the last thing on my mind when it comes to the Dallas
The
Cowboys.
fans write me all the time. They love when you get fired up. So you're fired up today. Hey, Vegas believes in them. Dallas is now fifth in odds to win the Super Bowl. Fifth, 12-1 to win the Super Bowl. Eagles and 49ers ahead of them in that NFC, but they're right there in third in that NFC race.
Uh, Feel free to bet and lose your money. That sounds great. Well, let's move on to another team that snuck out a victory this weekend, struggling to score points versus the Panthers. Are you starting to worry about this Ravens team that's still leading the division?
They just can't, you know, get the offense going.
Yeah.
But when you got a defense that's that good, your offense doesn't have to be as good.
Yeah.
But they can run the ball. Cold weather, November, December football, run the ball,
True.
play good defense. They got that formula. Their passing game's ridiculously bad,
Yeah.
but they do have Mark Andrews, kind of like Kansas City with Kelsey being a superstar. Andrews has been injured a little bit, but when he's there, man, the guy's great. So he's something to build around. Uh, Still, they're ninth in the NFL in average points per game. They score 25 points a game.
Yeah.
It's really their running game that's been doing it for them when they do score points.
No, it makes sense. We've seen them be able to put up points. So I think it's just the regression that their offense has taken so fast, right? And a lot of that points per game has really been the front loaded season when they were playing the Bills and they were playing the Dolphins and they were putting up a ton of points. These last few weeks, they've struggled a lot. I do think Mark Andrews is going to help. They got Demarcus Robinson from the Chiefs now, had a solid game, 10 receptions. So maybe that's someone they can rely on now.
Yeah.
I agree with you though. Cold weather, this team in the playoffs, you know the offense can be explosive if it has to be, right?
Yeah.
And they can run the ball, and they have a strong defense that's only getting better. Their offense is only getting better, bringing back Mark Andrews. Their team was riddled with injuries, so they're coming back. They're getting healthy. I think they're headed in the right direction, but I am starting to worry a little bit. When
Yeah.
that Panthers game there, they should have just trounced and to score, I
Yeah.
believe, 13 points versus that team.
And they got it all at the end of the game.
Yeah, a little worrisome there. So they're still leading the division. You know,
But Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati are the teams ahead of them in the AFC, and all three of those teams are offensive powerhouses.
yeah,
They're not going to be able to go out and shoot it out against those guys. They're not going to outscore Kansas City, Buffalo, and Cincinnati. So they got to do it on defense, controlling the ball, doing the running game. You know, the rushing offense is second in the NFL.
yeah,
Behind the Bears, Bears are number one. Obviously, Justin Fields driving that, but Bears are number one in the NFL in rushing offense. Ravens number two. So they got that down.
yeah. They do. So I don't, I'm not too worried yet because they're still leading the division.
Hey, Ravens are at Jacksonville Sunday at 1 o'clock. Favored by only 4 at Jacksonville. I'm surprised by that line. So they should get that victory and stay one game in front of the Bengals in that AFC North. We'll see what happens. Hey, let's talk about the Chargers. I know a team that you love and you're close to. What do you think about the Chargers coach Brandon Staley? Should they let him go? I think I'm going far there, but what do you think, man?
I think he's got to go this year.
You think he
personally.
does?
I think he's got to go. I don't. I watched a lot of Chargers games this year. You know, just Justin Jefferson or Justin Herbert's in my
Herbert's
dynasty
your man.
fantasy.
You have a man crush.
I
on
just have
Herbert.
watched a lot of games.
You have a man
He
crush on Herbert.
He's not. I know he's got great flow, but he is not the problem there. You can watch it. Mike Evans and Keenan Allen been out most of the year. That'll hurt anyone losing your top 2 wide receivers.
Yeah.
I just think every game he seems to be 30 seconds left in a chance to win, and it's like they're just. It's not the offense. It's just like the defense hasn't been able to stop anyone. The Chargers are allowing the fourth most points per game in the NFL. Brandon Staley's supposed to be this amazing defensive guru. I'm over Brandon Staley. Someone get in there and help this man, Justin Herbert. And I have the perfect guy. Tell me that Sean doesn't want to come back for this guy. The old Saints coach, Sean Payton, all right, doesn't want. He's been poking and prodding around. Everyone's talking about maybe the Denver job, maybe the Cardinals job. Why is no one talking about Justin Herbert? That's a young, amazing QB who can make any throw. They're looking to get a little more creative on offense.
So what would you bring him in as?
He's the head coach.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I'm saying.
That'd be a major move.
They're so uncreative with that offense. And they seem to have like amazing weapons everywhere and no one talks about this team. Right? I'm on the fire Brandon Staley train all the way.
All right, well I'm not gonna say fire him yet. I think they need to finish better than last year and they have to make the playoffs. I'll give them a chance to do that. Last year they were 10th place. They were 9-8. Okay? So they had a little bit of a winning record. And this year, they're kind of headed toward that same thing. They got to beat last year, and they got to make the playoffs. If they don't do that, okay, anything goes.
I just don't see any progression.
And right now they're ranked 9th.
Yeah, and they're 5-5. They're probably going to sneak into the back end of the playoffs again. And look, they have been riddled by injuries. This is probably the most injury-riddled team in the NFL. Like they lost their best corner that they signed. Their defense just hasn't been as elite. But I just think the offense doesn't look creative, and that's Justin Herbert. You can't put everything on this guy's shoulders. He's doing everything he can, it seems, every game, and they're struggling to win games. It doesn't ever look easy for them.
So looking at that last year, they're 10th. 9 teams finish ahead of them, okay? 3 of them are down this year. 3 of the teams that finish ahead of them are down. The Raiders, the Steelers, and the Colts. All have fallen off. So why aren't the Chargers capitalizing on that? Instead, they let 2 teams pass them that were behind them last year. The Ravens and the Jets have passed them up. So now they're sitting at the same spot, basically, that they were last year. They're not improving with some of these other teams. Hey, they're at the Cardinals this Sunday at 3 o'clock. I don't know why it's a 3 o'clock start, but it's 3 o'clock. And are favored to win the game by 5. So it's supposed to beat the Cardinals. Come on, Chargers, bring it on, man. Team Money's losing it on you. Losing faith in you guys, Chargers. Come on, man.
Yeah,
Over on the game's high. It's one of the highest totals of the week. Get ready for some scoring in that game.
All right, we'll see what they got. You better bring it, or Staley's gone. Let's move on now. Packers obviously lose again. Is it over, Jim? Is the Packers season officially over now?
They're not mathematically out, because by the time I say it, they're out. They'll do something miraculous and get in.
Yeah.
They're not mathematically out, but for all intents and purposes, they're out. They're 3 games out of first in their division with 6 games to go. Can they mathematically do it? Yeah, but they're not going to. I told you last time, man. They should run more than when they pass. When they pass more than they run, they're 1-6. And they did it again this past week. They passed more than they ran, and they did it again. I told them not to.
I know.
They didn't listen. They got to run the ball. Run the ball with Aaron Jones. Get that running game going, man.
Yeah, I don't think so. This division
Dylan's falling apart. Dylan's not getting anything.
I know. And this division looks like it's low-key getting harder and harder. The Lions had a good win this week. The Bears look like they're just getting better every second. Justin Fields is improving, so it's not going to be easy to just get those wins like it used to be in the past as well. I don't see Minnesota slipping versus bad teams, even though they're clearly not elite. I think they are done for the year. I think you got to start looking at testing Jordan Love out here, seeing what you got.
I think he's got it.
Well, they need to see.
Yeah, they need to see, because they keep dancing with him. I don't think he has it. Otherwise, he would have been playing them. But that team, if it wasn't for the Rams, they'd be my number 1 disappointment in the NFC.
Yeah.
The Rams are the number 1 disappointing team in the NFC. Green Bay's right there with them, but I would still rank the Rams worse. What do you think in terms of performance this year?
Well,
versus expectation.
I think the Packers were going to take a step back.
Yeah.
I didn't expect the Rams to be this bad. I mean, their offense has been atrocious. This is going to go down as the worst defense of a Super Bowl ever record-wise the next year. And so I just think that is a much bigger disappointment, because they won a Super Bowl. They clearly have the talent. They didn't lose that much. Whereas the Packers, I didn't really trust them last year anyways. They were beaten up on a bad division, and they lost Devontae Adams. I think that this was more likely to happen than the Rams were.
And with Minnesota kind of stumbling, they could be gettable. People think Minnesota's out in front, but there's no one that's really going to challenge them right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Packers travel to Philly on Sunday night. It's not going to get easy, man. Philly Sunday night, prime time. They're a 7-point dog. I'm surprised it's only 7, but it's only 7. It's not going to be an easy game for them. So, come on, Green Bay, Aaron. Hey, man, you got to do it against Philly, man. You want to get your team back in it, brother. Hey, Team Money. Bengals have looked great now for 2 weeks in a row. They're back in their Super Bowl form, they seem to be. Would you call them one of the top 3 teams in the NFL?
Top 3 team in the NFL. I'm going to say yes.
Whoa!
They're doing this without Jamar Chase.
Serious?
They're doing this without Jamar Chase.
You sound like a stadium fan.
A little bit, and I might be a little homer here. Kansas City's clearing away the best team here. I like the Niners as the second best team in the NFL. And this is where
Cincinnati number 1.
Well, no. I'm going in order. And now third. I think you could coin flip between the Bills and the Bengals. The Bengals started. Now this is right now. Yeah. Overall, the Bills might have just as good a resume, right? But right now the Bills are struggling.
Yeah.
And we'll get to them in a minute. And the Bengals are just performing great. Nixon's having great games. P. Ryan's having great games. The Bengals aren't known for the run game. Jamar Chase is out.
They need to get that
and
going now.
their defense looks stout. So I think that this has been a big few weeks for them. I do think the Bengals are definitely looking like a top 5 team right now. I know people love the Dolphins too, but I'm not sold. I just can't get on that Tua train yet. I've seen Joe Burrow do it in the playoffs. I haven't seen Tua do that. So right now, I'm gonna go top 3. I think right now they're better than the Bills, and that's why I got them third.
You're a little bit homering, I think, on this one, man. I don't know that they're in the top 3 in the AFC.
Oh,
let alone in the whole NFL.
Okay.
I mean, KC, with their 2 losses, they're the top team.
Yes.
They look like they're got the home field advantage. They're going for it. Bengals are the best of the 4-loss teams. The 4-loss teams are the Bengals, Jets, and Patriots. Okay, I'll give the Bengals that. Okay. But how about those 3-loss teams in the AFC? Are they better than all those guys when I think about the playoffs? The Titans, the Ravens, the Bills, and the Dolphins. Those are very strong teams in the playoffs. So I'm just looking out.
I'm saying right now.
You're saying right now. I'm looking out saying I don't know if they're in that top 3 right now in terms of can they get there, to the Super Bowl again.
Totality of season, Dolphins might be having a better the Bills might be better. But right now, who's looking the sharpest and ready playoff form? The Ravens barely could score versus the Panthers. The Titans, I mean, they can't do anything but give the ball to Derrick Henry. The Dolphins, would you rather have Tua or Joe Burrow? Okay, end of discussion. And then, I don't know. I just think that they're playing great right now. So I'm going out on a limb. I like these guys. They're coming into form at the right time.
Yeah.
They look strong compared to these guys.
Yeah. They got the Titans coming up. They got the Chiefs coming up. Yeah. And the Browns and the Bucks. Those are the next 4 coming up.
Tough road here.
It's gonna be fun to see Joey B go after. Come on, Joey B, man.
And that's the Browns with Deshaun Watson. So this is gonna be a tough 4-game stretch.
Yeah.
Very tough 4-game stretch here.
That's true.
Well, I know we were just talking about who's the best in the NFL and the AFC and everything. Well, let's go to those Buffalo Bills.
Man,
they get a win this week, finally resetting everything after a little skid.
Yeah.
All right. The question for you is, do you now have faith in these Bills?
Well, I don't know. I never had faith in them, but a little bit of a question mark. Especially if Josh Allen continues to play kind of hurt.
Yeah.
He looks kind of hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
But I told you I was concerned last week, but they did play better. They had no turnovers. So they cleaned up the turnovers. No turnovers. I said, that's a big step for them.
Yeah.
But their defense still has not improved. Their defense gave up 400 yards, 3 passing touchdowns.
The Browns.
So that can't happen. 400 yards and 3 passing touchdowns against your D. They got to get that D stronger. I think the offense will be okay. Elite okay.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards question mark too. I can't believe we're getting 2 middle of the road answers here. I don't think they really sold me on anything because do I trust Josh Allen to not make a mistake in a playoff game? No, I think he's going to. And if your defense gives up 400 plus yards to Jacoby Brissett, what is Joe Burrow and what is Patrick Mahomes going to do to you? Yeah. And on top of that, I do think the biggest thing for them coming out of this game is that their run game looked solid. Both running backs, their backup James Cook and their starter Singletary, had over 80 yards. That's a big step in the right direction for a team everyone's been clamoring for to get a run game and stop relying on Josh Allen so much. So if there's any bright spots here, they obviously won this game. Somehow they kept letting the Browns back in this game. If you watched it, they just wouldn't step on their throats.
Yeah.
And the Browns seemed to hang around. And then that's how these teams ended up beating the Bills these past few weeks. They let everyone hang around. They make a mistake, and then they lose.
Yeah, the last one they beat the Packers, they almost blew that game.
Yes.
They let them hang around.
Exactly.
They had them killed in the first half, and then they didn't cover the spread.
Yeah, so they got us.
They don't count on them to cover a 2-touchdown spread.
No, so that's
they
the
do
biggest
not
thing.
Put their foot on the throat and push it home.
Yeah.
Hey, they're still 0-2 in their division, which I still think is going to force them to potentially go through the wild card.
Yeah, potentially.
To get into the playoffs.
It's crazy.
Which is going to be crazy. Dolphins, Jets, New England in their own division are going to be tougher than to beat.
Yeah.
and they are 0-2 in that division. So they might not win that division.
No.
Next up for them, they got the Lions, Patriots, and Jets. So Patriots and Jets coming up really quick here for them. They had a lot of distractions this past week with the travel and the weather and everything else. They should have just stayed in Detroit. I don't know if they did. Did they stay in Detroit? Play in Detroit Thursday.
They might have, but I doubt it. It's only 4 hours away.
They could have just stayed there. They play the Lions in the first game of the triple header on Thanksgiving Day. Get your turkey legs ready early. Early game, 11 o'clock, I think, or 11:30 is the first game. Turkey legs early, baby. Mashed potatoes, gravy, a little dressing, a little pumpkin pie, maybe right at halftime.
Yeah.
That sounds really good. A little bit of whipped cream on top of that pumpkin pie, and you're going to enjoy that game and see if the Bills can bring that.
All right,
bring that home. Their favorite big in that game. So defense, Bills, come on, Turkey Day. I want to see.
Shut them down.
Hey, did I hear something? Oh, Randy's up. Randy's ready. Randy's ready. Hey, it's time for Cousin Randy's Chugging Chant.
Hey, welcome into this week's Chugging Chant. It's Cousin Randy, and I'm getting cold because it's going to be cold for the rest of the season after these guys leave you heartbroken in the middle of winter. Because just like the beer I'm drinking today, it's not the real thing. It's not Bud Light. It's a fraud. Let's get this chugging, then we'll chant. All right. Everyone's looking around. Look at these standings. How amazing. Oh my God, the Bud Light of this year. Is it the Vikings? Kirk Cousins? One of the best records in the NFL? No. You're actually looking at a Miller Lite. Just poured into a cup. You can't see. It looks like it's a regular beer, but no, it's not Bud Light. It's fake. It's a fraud. The Vikings are frauds. They got a first-year head coach. Maybe he's good. I don't know. Not yet, son. Okay, they've been in too many one-score games. They rely solely on Justin Jefferson, and Kirk Cousins is actually having one of his worst years ever statistically. This team's a bunch of frauds. They got exposed by the Cowboys, who just destroyed them. They couldn't keep Micah Parsons off that quarterback. They couldn't move the ball at all. 3 measly points. My God, the Vikings no longer going to accept them as anyone talking about them being relevant or contenders. No. If Kirk Cousins goes and wins 2 playoff games, okay, maybe next year I will. But this year he might win 1 game, maybe. But no. No. They are frauds and they are not contenders. And just like this beer, after a few, they might seem good. But the hangover tomorrow is going to hurt you worse because it's not actually Bud Light. G-Man, T-Money, what do you think? These guys frauds for real? Or are you still on the contender train? Hope you choose the right side.
Randy. Randy is hilarious, man. Hey,
It's coming.
The hangover tomorrow is going to hurt.
Yeah.
I love that, Randy. You're hilarious.
He
man.
said it,
Hey,
didn't he?
but he's onto something.
Yeah.
Vikings are a fraud. Hey, man, he might be right.
Yeah.
He might be right.
I mean, I just think that Kirk Cousins might be. I like the Vikings team. Justin Jefferson is elite. Dalvin Cook still seems to have it. Every once in a while, their defense plays to an elite level. TJ Hawkinson's solid. Like I love
defending these guys.
I love all their pieces.
They lost 40-3.
I know, but
How did they get 3 points?
I think Micah Parsons just had like an all-time game. They got behind on the chains. They couldn't make good plays. They've been a solid team all year. I mean, a week ago we were talking about this team like they could win like the whole NFC because they just beat the Bills, right? Like let's not forget this and be prisoners to the moment. Right?
Yeah.
This NFL
I
team,
think
anything can happen on anything.
T-Money likes Miller Lite, Randy. T-Money likes Miller Lite.
Look, I just think Kirk Cousins is more of the fraud than the whole Vikings. I know he hates the teams that got smashed, but I think they're still solid. I'm not going to say they're a contender. I'll stay away from that, Randy.
They got that Bills win. You thought they were there, and then they go do this.
Yeah. So
how can you do that?
I'll stay away from the word contender. Hey, but they're going to win a playoff game. Probably they're probably going to host one.
Yeah, let's go Vikings. Hey, you're home again on Thanksgiving night. This time against the Patriots. You got them at home. Primetime favored by 3 Vikings.
Yeah.
What are you going to do, man? You going to bring it or not? Don't let Randy call you out. Hey, let's shift gears here. Let's move on to making some cash, y'all. It's time for big bets. We're going to give you our best picks of the week, our best lock of the week, and our best dog luck of the week. T Money and I are going to pick them for you. T Money's on a roll. T Money's on a roll. We were undefeated last week as a team, but T Money's been undefeated 2 weeks in a row himself. So,
Come on.
hey, man, T Money's on a roll. Good job, man. So let's go to the lock pick of the week. Who you got for your lock pick?
Lock pick of the week here. Chargers -4.5 versus the Cardinals. It's a big hook there, but I'm going with the Chargers here. I think Justin Herbert has been playing great. He had a chance to win that game, technically. They were up with 45 seconds left in that game, going to beat the Chiefs, who everyone thinks is the best team in the league. And this is almost a make or break game for the Chargers themselves as well, right? The Cardinals season is over, but the Chargers are still fighting for playoff contention, and they need to win this game. I think the Cardinals literally and figuratively have given up. They don't like Kyler. You watch the end of that Niners game, people are actively not trying to tackle George Kittle because they are giving up on the play, which means they're giving up on the season. I think the Cardinals are down and out. If Kyler doesn't play, that's even better. And so I think the Chargers run away with this one, pissed off from losing to the Chargers or losing to the Chiefs with a great game that they played.
All right, you're counting on your man Staley to bring it back. All right, man, good pick there. I'm going to go to MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, where the Jets are hosting the Bears, 1 o'clock Sunday on Fox. I'm going with the Jets here, -4.
Okay.
To run away from the Bears. And I say go get the line right now because Justin Fields is somehow listed as questionable and day-to-day. When they announce that Justin's not playing, that line's going up. Go grab it now, man. I'm telling you. T-Money, you got to get this podcast out.
I know.
But I'm going Jets. Jets continue to struggle on offense behind Jack Wilson, but their defense is amazing. It's 5 straight games now. They've held their opponents to 17 points or less. Their defense is allowing 4.0 yards a carry. That's number 6 in the NFL, which should help them stop Montgomery without Fields there. The Jets are 5-2 against the spread, T-Money, in their last 7 games, while Chicago's 2-4 against the spread in their last 6. So without Justin Fields, I just don't see it happening here, man. I think the Jets trounce them. It won't be a blowout because the Jets don't score that much, but it's going to be convincing, and they're going to cover 4 points. Give me the Jets at home, giving 4 over the Bears without Fields for my lock pick of the week.
All right. I like it. Solid pick. My dog lock pick of the week here is the Raiders +3.5 versus the Seahawks here. All right. The Raiders finally got a win.
The Raiders convinced you last week.
They convinced me. They can put up points. The Seahawks kind of skidding here as of late. They started off super hot. They lost to the Bucks recently. They're not putting up the points they were putting up in the beginning of the season where they were putting up 30-plus points a game. Geno Smith's kind of regressing back to the mean a little bit. So the Raiders +3.5. I think they're going to win this outright. And I like this because you're getting that half point. The Seahawks have a really good kicker, so they may win at the gun or something like that. But the Raiders, Devontae Adams has been going off. Josh Jacobs looks great now. Yeah. And it's really that the defensive line for the Seahawks is not that great at stopping the run. The Bucks ran all over them the last time we saw the Seahawks play, and so I think Josh Jacobs has a big day, and no one's stopping Devontae. So I think they're finally getting on a roll here. I like the Raiders.
They got a couple superstars there with Devontae and Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to U.S. Bank Stadium, Minneapolis, Minnesota, man. Last week we gave you the Cowboys over the Vikings. That was the pick of the week, and they delivered. This time we're giving you the Patriots over the Vikings. So we're kind of siding here with Cousin Randy and his chug and chant. Thursday at 8:20, this game goes down. Patriots getting 3. Give me the 3. They're going to win this game outright. New England's back in the AFC playoff picture. They're had a great week 11. Their defense, 16.9 points per game they're allowing. So this is second best in the NFL. On the other side, the Vikings defense has not been good. They're currently last in the NFL in red zone scoring. 71% of the time, opponents score a touchdown when they get in their red zone.
It's crazy.
New England's 6-1 against the spread in its last 7 games, and they're 5-0 straight up in their last 5 games against Minnesota. And finally, the big one that everybody knows, Kirk Cousins in prime time. He's 6-9 with Minnesota when the kickoff is after 7 p.m. 6-9. He's going down. Give me the Patriots. I'll take the 3 in a low-scoring affair on Turkey Day for my dog block pick of the week.
All right. I like it, G-Man. Well, let's move to G-Man's player prop of the week. What you got for us,
Hey,
G-Man?
last week we gave you Jonathan Taylor. He had a great game. I don't know if he passed up all the props, but he did run for 84 yards and a touchdown on 22 carries. He had 3 catches for 10 yards, so a total of 94 yards. I told you to go for some of the yardage props, running, catching. He had a great day. Hopefully, you guys want some cash off JT last week.
Yeah.
This week, I'm going Tony Pollard.
All
Tony
right.
Pollard to go crazy against the Giants on Thanksgiving. He did not get a touchdown last week, and he had 36 fantasy points. That's
Crazy.
well. Dak only threw the ball 25 times this last week, which means they love to run the ball in Dallas, and they're going to do it this week against the Giants. He had 80 yards rushing and had over 100 yards receiving. So look for the total yards rushing and receiving prop on him. The guy's explosive.
Yeah. Crazy good. He's taking over that backfield.
Hey, let's go into fantasy. Let's get those fantasy managers ready so they can make the playoffs. All you fantasy managers out there, we know you're trying to get your lineup set. If you're playing some for DFS, we're going to get you set for that too. Let's move on. Hey, this week no one's on a buy team money. We don't have to worry about the buys this week. So
All right.
yeah, everyone has their full arsenal of players. Keep in mind it's Tuesday. Right now we're recording and things can change. We're giving you our best view right now, man. And so we're going to start with hot and cold. I'm going to give you the hot players that are borderline starts. Tell you to start them. Team Money's going to give you the cold. Those borderline players, or maybe good players. Team Money told you to sit them, or you're going to get your heart broken. All right, so I'm going to start Team Money with my hot quarterback pick of the week. Last week I gave you Daniel Jones, man. He was QB1, and he was a deal on DraftKings. Lit it up, delivered 25 fantasy points in it, and at a low price. This week I'm going with Jimmy G, man. Jimmy G against the New Orleans defense. Jimmy completed 20 of 29 for 228 yards, and here's the kicker: 4 touchdowns in their win over Arizona, and he's been turnover free. Can you believe that? No turnovers for 3 consecutive games. So it's now the second time in 3 weeks he's finished with a QB rating of at least 130. He's got so many weapons, Team Money. Why will this not continue in Week 12? He's ranked against the Saints, who are ranked 19th in the NFL against fantasy QBs. Why does it not continue? Hey, if you're DFS, Jimmy's only $5,600. That's a steal. Jimmy G to start. My upside quarterback hot pick of the week.
All right. I'm not going to comment on Jimmy G. You know how I feel about him.
Just because your girlfriend likes him.
Oh, no. I just think he might have had his greatest game ever and scored like 28 points in fantasy.
Nobody looks like Jimmy G in a suit, man. He puts that suit
That's
on.
fair. Well, I told you Kirk Cousins last week, and what happened? Cold. All right, this week, Justin Fields, not only because he might not play, right?
Yeah.
So don't even test the waters. But if he does play, he's injured. He didn't look good at the end of that game. He even apologized to his team because of how badly he played. He's projected for 19.8 versus these Jets. And I know, even if he was healthy, everyone's like, he's crushing it right now. Let's go do it. This team's the 9th best versus quarterbacks. And the Jets season seems to now be in the balance, right? With all these rumors of Zach Wilson and what's going to happen, I think they're all about ball control, keeping that ball out of Justin Fields' hands, so there's not going to be a lot of possessions.
Stop the kick returns.
He's not going to get a passing touchdown because Sauce Gardner's the best cornerback in the NFL and won't let anyone score. So if he does it with his legs, he might have 50 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. That's 17 points, my guy. I don't think he's getting there this week. Injured, so they're going to run him less. And he's playing an elite defense, not going to let him score any throwing touchdowns, and they're just going to force him to run the ball. I don't think this is a recipe for success here. Jets are coming out firing after losing this past weekend on a last-second punt return.
Yeah.
So I think Justin Fields, cold QB of the week.
Yeah, I got the Jets.
You like the Jets.
As a team to win, yeah. I'm with you, man. At RB this week, I'm going with Najee Harris. You're going to love that against the Colts defense. Najee
I
carried
like
the
it.
ball 20 times for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns, caught 4 of 6 targets for 26 yards, rolled up 28 fantasy points. He's now rushed for 189 yards over the past 2 games, and that should continue in week 12. Jalen Warren, his backup, is out with a hamstring. The Colts rank 23rd in the NFL against opposing fantasy running backs. If you're playing DFS, Najee's only $5,800, under 6,000 on DraftKings. So that's a great deal.
Yeah.
Najee Harris on the start, my upside running back hot pick of the week, T Money.
All right, I'm on the Najee train, so let's
Yeah.
keep that rolling. I got him in a lot of leagues, so finally he's playing well. One more week, maybe I'll trust him. How about that? One more week.
All right.
My cold running back of the week, though, I told you Joe Mixon was going to be the cold running back last week, and what was he?
You did.
He was cold. I'm riding it again. Joe Mixon's not doing it again, okay? Projected for 17.3 versus Tennessee.
Is he going to play?
Well, that's
P.
why he
Ryan. What
won't
about
start.
P. Ryan? If
That-
P. Ryan plays, will he do it?
No, because P. Ryan's not going to have that much success.
Okay, because a lot of people are
getting
picking up P.
touchdowns.
Ryan on the waiver wire.
That's fine. You could go get him and start him. He might get you 8 points. He's not going to score a touchdown because either way,
Okay.
Tennessee's the sixth best team in the NFL versus running backs. And I just think that this Tennessee team's going to control the ball. Derrick Henry's going to have the ball. This won't be a high-scoring game. It's going to be low-scoring. And I think they're going to focus on T. Higgins because they know how elite this Tennessee front is. So it's going to be more of a passing game for Joe Burrow. Mixon's not going to have a game. P. Ryan Fine's not going to have a game. So 17.3. That's a big projection for a guy now coming off an injury and who I said would have a slow game and did. So
Hey, good call. You know the Bengals, man. I'm with you there. Okay, that sounds good. That's going to help a lot of people that are looking at P. Ryan. Hey, this week let's go to wide receiver. Last week, we told you to go T. Higgins against that Steelers defense. He delivers 24 fantasy points. Wide receiver 4 for the week. Second week in a row, we gave you a top 5 hot receiver. This week, it's going to be, you're going to love this, T Money, Gabe Davis against the Lions secondary on Thanksgiving. Davis brought in 5 of 7 targets for 68 yards in the Bills' win over the Browns. He was second on the team in receptions and receiving yards for the Bills, while sharing the lead with team targets with Dawson Knox. He's averaging 16 fantasy points over the past 2 weeks. He should string a third week on top of that when they return to a comfortable location where he just played, Ford Field in Detroit. Same place. Gabe is not out on DraftKings yet here on Tuesday. I can't give you his number, but I'm saying go with him. Gabe Davis, a start. My upside wide receiver, hot pick of the week.
all right. I'll take it again. I like Gabe Davis. My cold wide receiver of the week is Justin Jefferson. All right. I know another big name. 19.1 versus New England. Projected 19.1 versus New England. 6.3 last week versus a daunted Cowboys defense. What is Bill Belichick known for? Taking away your number one option. That Matthew Judon looks like a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, leading the NFL in sacks right now. So they're going to get after the quarterback again. And New England is second in the league versus wide receivers in fantasy. So I think this is going to be more of a Dalvin Cook type game. And Adam Thielen might get some scrums, so TJ Hawkinson type game. But they're going to take away Justin Jefferson. Bill Belichick does not give you your number one option.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Justin Jefferson owners. Once again, he's going to have a bad game in back-to-back weeks. I know you're counting on him, but cold wide receiver of the week.
Hey, I like New England. Hey, looking at my total fantasy lineup here. Last week, the lineup that I gave y'all, I won 2 DFS tournaments. I don't even know if you know that.
Wow.
Won your tournament that you're in, won that one, and I won another one on DraftKings.
Killing it, G-Man.
With the lineup I gave y'all last week, man. Hey, so this week I'm giving you, here's my summary. Going with Jimmy G, a quarterback, I gave him $5,600. Got Najee Harris at that running back. The other running back's Tony Pollard. He's not out on DraftKings yet. I can't give you his price. Jacoby Myers, the wide receiver. I like his picture here versus the Vikings on Thanksgiving. Going Deebo Samuel. Deebo is getting looks for San Fran. They're finding ways to get him the ball, running and passing. So I got Debo in there. I got Njoku at tight end. The best thing I did is like how he jumped over the player. But no, no, he's great. He's great. I like him. Only $3,600 at tight end. I got the Ravens DST. They're killing it. And so the other wide receiver is Gabe Davis. And the flex, that gives you enough with that lineup to get one of the top flex. You can get Austin Eckler with that lineup as your flex.
Wow,
So I want to see what I had left in money, but I don't know that exact number. But you'll be at a big name flex on that lineup and go for it, man.
All right, I like it.
Hey, let's go to Take a Mistake, our last game before the Thanksgiving turkey starts cooking, baby. Hey, Take a Mistake. I give T Money a guy that's hot, and he tells me whether we should play him this week. Is it a take or is it a mistake? Don't do it. Hey, this is a surprise. T Money doesn't know who we're going with. I'm going to give him three names, starting off with the quarterback, Ryan Tannehill from Tennessee. Tannehill completed 22 of 27 for 333 yards with 2 touchdowns. And their win over the Packers averaged 12 yards per attempt while hitting 8 different pass catchers, T-Money. Can fantasy managers count on Tannehill to deliver more than 19 fantasy points for the third straight week in a row in their Week 12 matchup against your Bengals? T-Money, is Ryan Tannehill a take as a starter this week for fantasy, or would that be a mistake?
I would, if you're, yeah, I'm going to go no. That's
not going to get 19.
I don't think he's going to get 19. I don't trust him to consistently perform at this level. And with 3 weeks in a row over 19, the game's coming where it's going to be a down week, and he's going to throw a few picks. The Bengals have a solid pass rush with Trey Henderson and them boys. I think this is going to be more of a Derrick Henry type game, anyways, to control the clock, to keep the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands. And so that, and just not trusting Ryan Tannehill in general, and no one being on a bye week this week, I'll start my regular guy. If it was a bye week, throw in Tannehill for sure.
Oh, Tannehill, come on, man. Hey, let's go to somebody you know and love at running back. I already told you I loved him. Let's see if you love him. Najee Harris rushed 20 times for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Got 4 of 6 targets for 26 yards on Sunday versus the Bengals. Racked up 28 fantasy points. First time he's been over 14 fantasy points all year. Can fantasy managers count on Najee to keep heating it up when the weather's cooling down against the Colts on Monday Night Football? Team Money. Is Najee Harris a take as a fantasy start this week, or would that be a mistake?
I have no idea.
It's the first time you've ever said that.
I am a Najee owner in many leagues, and I'm sure anyone else is listening to this and is a Najee owner.
Now, they need your advice.
I have no idea.
Well, I'll tell you the
I'm
answer.
gonna say
yes. Start him is my answer.
I would sit him personally.
Oh my gosh.
I am a guy that is all about a floor, and his floor could be 3 or it could be 20. I have no idea. He's getting the touches, but I need to see consistent touches. 2 is a coincidence. 3 is a trend. Okay. Let's see it 3 weeks in a row getting 20 plus touches and 90 plus yards. Okay. Let's have a conversation about a consistent starter. You let us down too much in the first half of the season.
Your heart's broken.
I'm heartbroken right now. Prove to me.
You're like the Tin Man, man.
Make it a trend.
Oil. You need some Najee oil for your tin heart.
I'm not starting him yet.
Hey, man, let's go to wide receiver. I'm going to throw Demarcus Robinson at your Team Money. The Ravens, Demarcus Robinson brought in 9 targets for 28. And they're winning with the Panthers. Got 22 fantasy points. Can fantasy managers count on the veteran journeyman to continue this elevated performance against the Jags in Week 12? Team Money, is Demarcus Robinson a take as a fantasy start this week, or would that be a mistake?
I mean, in deep leagues, sure, but this is a mistake.
No.
Don't trust any of these Ravens pass catchers other than Mark Andrews. I mean, this is
because we know they want to run the ball.
They want to run the ball. That's their priority. Mark Andrews is their second, and then Lamar Jackson running the ball is third. So he's the 4th option? And at that point, I don't know if it's going to be Duvernay. I don't know if it's going to be Robinson. I don't know if it's going to be some other guy walking off the street and scoring here. So I don't trust Ravens wide receivers personally. So that's a mistake for me. But there's a lot of guys in deep leagues looking for someone that might get 10 points on a flex right now with some injuries and stuff. So you could throw them in there as a flyer, but I don't like trusting guys that have only done it 1 time. So let alone 2 like Najee. And so I can't trust Duvernay yet. Robinson yet because he just hasn't done
Can't
it
trust
consistently.
Duvernay either, but you're entertaining, Team Money, and you're very smart. That's it for today's show. We hope you had fun and got some good advice from us. Getting you ready for Turkey Day. Make sure you check out all of our segments where you consume your content. Look for us at Father, Son, and Holy Sport on behalf of Team Money and Cousin Randy, I might say. I'm G-Man. Enjoy the games and happy Thanksgiving.
All right, we'll see you. Peace.